am Christie Blushi, the owner of CheerFactor All-Stars. We have 4 locations: Hanover, Norton, our newest location, Rhode Island, and Taunton. I have run this All-Star program for over 20 years, and I am here today to discuss half year. We already have a lot of excitement buzzing for our half year program this season. Registrations are already coming in. Getting a lot of emails, so I decided to create a video to give you guys as much information as possible if you are interested in joining us. Half Year Cheer is a USASF prep all-star cheer program that is very unique to the Northeast based on how our area has youth cheerleading, Pop Warner cheerleading, and AYC. It is a program that most all-star gyms offer from December to the end of the season, which is April, to allow kids that really focus on their town programs to be able to participate in all-star cheer, or for people that are interested in all-star cheer but aren't ready to jump fully into the full year program. So it is a different division within all-star. It is prep. They have a little bit different rules than what elite has. It is a great opportunity for kids that just love cheer to keep going past their traditional fall season. For our gym half year, we are accepting athletes that are 6 and older. Specifically, they must be born in 2018. It's kind of specific as far as the year. So we take kids from 6 all the way up to 18. For the kids that are under 6, we have our full year program for kids under 6, which is Tinies. That begins in June, and then our half year program for Tinies starts in September, because traditionally there is not youth teams for those kids, so they want to get going right when school starts. If you are under 6 years old and you're ready to get going now or in December, there's a few things that you can do. You can jump into one of our tiny tumbling classes. We offer those at all the locations, various days and times for them to get a good basic foundation in cheerleading. You can do that per session, or you can do drop-ins for those classes. We also will be starting after the holidays a rec program again that will allow under 6 years old, a little bit of a different program, but any of the little kids will be able to do that, and they do a performance at our end of the year showcase. We do have options for kids under 6, and if you want more info, you can always reach out for that. Officially, practices begin the week of December 2nd. The final performance is in April, and it is the Friday night prior to April vacation. So it goes from December all the way through to April. So winter and then early spring. We do a team reveal that is done via email. That will be done on November 27th. You will get in that email your child's team, what level the team is, when that team practices, when their choreography dates are, everything that you didn't already get in the info packets or on the evaluation dates, you'll get on that team reveal day. For each location, we have 2 evaluation dates, and that's just for families' convenience. You only need to attend 1. How we create teams and how we do the evaluations, it's very specific based on age and ability level, and also what you do in stunting. A lot of times with the divisions that we have and that we offer, primarily age is first, then it is level, what tumbling level and what stunting level the athletes are capable of doing now. Remember, half year is a quick season. It's not like full year where you have 4 months of preseason work. We go right into it. So it's what the athletes can perform safely right now. They only have to attend 1 day. We look at their age, we look at their tumbling skills, we look at what stunting skills they may have, as well as jumps and motion experience. We create teams based on all of those factors. We actually run a very large half year program compared to some other gyms. Typically we have 3 teams per location. So often we will have a half year program of up to 12 teams. You want to get evaluated at the gym that you want to be at. So if you know you want to be at Hanover, you get evaluated at Hanover. However, if you're open to switching locations because there may be a team level or age group that might be better suited for your child, we ask those questions with a questionnaire before evaluations start, and you are able to do that. None of our gyms are super far away from each other, so sometimes we find, especially with full year, that kids are willing to switch, locations for a team that better suits their athlete. So for the most part, we have about 12 teams, so we almost offer every division that is offered in prep. So we kind of have a place for everybody. Typically 3 teams per location, sometimes 10 to 12 teams in total. Cost about All-Star Cheer, and this is available online on our info packet too for you to kind of look over, but I'm going to talk through it for anything that might be confusing. Registration now, we're running our on-time registration. It is $125 to register for our program. All of our All-Star athletes have a registration fee. That price expires the day after the final evaluation. After the final evaluation, that price goes up to $150. So if you know you're joining a team, you've been with us before, you know you're just gonna, no matter what you're doing this, I would definitely get registered at $125. We have an evaluation fee. So you pick the day that you're gonna come. This is how we can kind of plan how many kids are going to be there. That is $10. You can register for that on our portal too. You do all that before you join the teams. There's another fee that does not get paid to us. This is the USASF membership fee. That is the governing body of All-Star Cheer. In order to be able to compete, every athlete needs to be a USASF member. That price is $49. You will pay that online through the USASF. We'll send you info on how to do that, but that does not come to us. The next cost that is fairly important is the cheer fees. So the cheer fees are 3 payments of $330. We skip December, and I'll explain why. Those are paid January 1st, February 1st, and March 1st. Those are the cheer fees that cover the following. Your competition fees. There is a competition entrance fee per person paid by the gym. That is for your routine choreography. I'll touch base a little bit on what choreography is a little bit later. That is also the team's music, as well as the coaches' fees. And there is a uniform fee. This is what's paid in December. We try not to load you guys all with everything right before the holidays. Our uniform fee this year is $275. It will be due December 15th. It is a new uniform year. We do have photos of the uniforms. I'll get those out online so you guys can see them, but they're beautiful. New uniform year for everybody, so it's very exciting. The last thing I'm going to talk about is tuition. That is the monthly fee. That will be paid December, January, February, March, and April. That is $125 per month. The tuition technically is the yearly price of being rostered on one of our teams divided by the months that you are on those teams. Typically, it includes 1 2-hour practice per week, but there are some weeks or months that we load a little bit more. There are red zones and blackout weeks, which I'll talk about a little bit later, where you do get a little bit of extra practices. So in general, it is 2 hours of practice per week, but that can fluctuate, and we don't charge more for months that we have more practices, and we don't charge less for months that we have less practices, because at the end of the day, it kind of all equals out. I also want to point out that our half-year athletes will be able to get CheerFactor tumbling classes at 50% off. Everybody that joins our program for a half year will get a All-Star only code, and they'll be able to sign up for tumbling classes at 50% off. That doesn't include open gyms or clinics, but for the most part, a lot of our full year elite All-Stars all join a class that is based on their level, so that way they can work on their tumbling. That is the costs that are kind of the hard costs for the season. There are some other costs that come in as well. Sometimes we don't have specific numbers because it kind of changes. One is the team bow that we're gonna do, or the hair accessory. We have not decided if we're gonna do a bow or one of those cuffs. So you guys will be billed for that on your accounts once we have that information. The other thing is that we do not do team makeup, so there's no charge as far as that's concerned. I have a bunch of videos that are gonna be getting released soon for our elite and full year program. Half year will be the same. We do neutral, smoky eye. Again, you guys will get a video on how to that. Most people that have makeup have the products that we do require. So that's an additional cost if you want to go get new stuff to kind of match your CheerFactor vibe. The other thing is sneakers. We do a sneaker order every single season. We will do them with our uniform sizing. You are not mandated to buy new sneakers. However, we require that all the half-year athletes have indoor white cheer sneakers. There is a reason why they need to be indoor. The indoor sneakers have a different sole on the bottom because these athletes perform on a spring floor. You can't have a thick bottom sole being on the spring floor because it's more likely to have a rolled ankle. That's primarily the difference between an indoor and outdoor shoe. We recommend that they wear varsity, but we don't mandate anything as far as shoes. So if you want to order your shoes through us, you can, and we'll have those dates for you. And if you want to use shoes that you've had before, you can do that too. That's pretty much all the costs that you'll get associated. Obviously for parents, there's entrance fees to the events and those kinds of things. But other than that, that's pretty much all you're going to get as far as costs are concerned. Funny story, they're actually working on the choreography schedule right now in our administration meeting. But we do a separate choreography session that is not held in practice. And I know a lot of youth teams do that now, so they're probably more used to it. In the years past, a lot of them weren't. And they're like, oh, this is a separate day for choreography. But yes, we try to get it done as soon as possible, but also not too soon that we haven't had a few practices with the kids and haven't figured out, what their positions are going to be and all that. There will be separate days for choreography in addition to their practices. You will have that info out for the reveal, but we are looking for late December, early January to get that done. This is a super fun question, and I have found that the past couple of years, because we've been able to offer so many teams, it gets easier and easier to explain to parents. So how do we do placements? First and foremost, age, how old the athletes are. We try to keep our teams as old as possible for the age group that they are. So if you're 6 and we have a youth team, we want you on that youth team. We don't want you on a junior team, even though according to the rules you technically could be. So we try to keep our teams older. Why do we do that? The older they are, the more competitive they're going to be. So first and foremost, it's age. Second, it's ability level. Often it's tumbling because we have to hit certain amounts of tumbling for our routines based on whatever level they are. So we look at the tumbling skills that they have. We also take into consideration what they do for stunting. Again, this is not a long season, it's a quick turnover. So we try to keep kids in positions that they're used to doing. If they're brand new at cheer, that's also fine. But we don't like to make some mega changes. We don't like to turn, back spots into flyers into back spots, whatever. We try to keep everybody what they're used to doing or what they know how to do. So their position matters and what the team kind of needs. Now that we're usually offering teams at almost every level and age group, a lot of parents are not confused about what team they make. Sometimes you might find yourself a little bit as an outlier if you only want to be at one location. So let's just say at Norton, we end up with 3 junior teams just because that's how it falls, and your child is 7 or 8. You might say, oh, why didn't they make the youth team? Well, that youth team's in Hanover and you can't make Hanover. So we are a little bit more lenient with half year in that sense, where we understand what gym you want to be at and we're going to try to make accommodations for you. While with full year elite, we technically sometimes we'll put people at different gyms based on what their ability level is. But for the most part, generally it's age and ability level. We do get a lot of people that ask, am I going to be on the same team as Susie? We don't take that into consideration. And often if it's something that you really are adamant about, just know if you want to be with someone, technically we will bump that to the lower level, not the upper level. So let's just say you have a kid without a back handspring and then you have a kid with a back handspring, and we made a team that you don't have to throw back handsprings, so we made a team that you do. Just because they want to be together does not mean the athlete without the back handspring now goes on the team with the back handsprings, if that makes sense. So just be careful with how much you want to say we want our kids to be on the same teams. If they're the same ability level and the same age, they're more than likely going to end up on the same team. So again, we want everyone to be aware that cheerleading is a commitment. When someone is missing, you cannot do all your tricks. You need your bases, you need your back spot, you need your flyers. So attendance is extremely important. We also only practice once a week. So when you are not at practice, it affects the team for 2 whole weeks. So attendance is important. Generally speaking, because it's half season, you get half the absences that the full year elite team gets. So that is 3 absences. We do take into consideration different things. If it was an added practice or if it was over one of the vacations, we do have a little bit of leeway. But if you are over 3 absences, it doesn't mean that we're kicking you out of the program or kicking you off the team. We just may move your child's position in the routine to be a little less needed because they were not at the practices to be able to do the elements of the routine. So in general, there are 3 absences allowed. Will there be extra practices? Yes. One of the things, and again, we understand that people signing up for half year also have lives. You are not as in it as some of our elite kids are that have been in it a long time. They know when our comp schedule is and all that. Okay, so I'm going to start off with, yes, we do extra practices. 1, we will have extra practices for choreography. And I already talked about that with the choreography session. 2, there will be added extra practices during February vacation. Why? Because for our general gym, we close with the exception of our Dallas team. So we have the space and time available to get these kids in extra. It is right before their competition season kicks off, so we try to load February vacation with some extra practices. And that's kind of why I said if you already have a vacation planned, we may be a little bit more lenient with the 3 absences if you're going to be absent during February vacation. However, we do plan to have extra practices for that. Then the weeks leading up to our competitions, which are red zones, and I will get into detail with that, we will also add practices on those weeks too. And you will have all those practices in advance. So when you make your team and you get the reveal email and you have all the info, all those dates will be in there. And if you're going to be missing any of them, you would let your coach know right away. Red zones, very, very important. Those are the week leading up to a competition. Those are mandatory. They cannot miss practices during red zone for any reason. How I like to explain our attendance policy to the full year elites, and we have probably been doing this for about 15 years and we found it to work. So we have not changed it. There is no excuse. It's an absence or it's not. The reason why is because if I made a list of excuses, everyone would just use those excuses to get out of missing practice. The point is, the week prior to a competition, you need everybody there so that way you can be fully ready to compete. So red zone weeks, there are no misses. If you miss, your child will be replaced in that routine for that weekend. Not kicked out of the team, you're not kicked out of the program, you just will not compete that weekend. I can go into detail further with that. I actually do another video about red zones. I have some actually already that I could post so you guys can get more details about that if you wanted. But just kind of plan the week of competitions. You must be there at practices and there will be extras. but you will know about them at the reveal. Some just questions that we generally get throughout the season that are little tidbits that I feel like I should just say in this video so you guys have a good understanding. One is, does the gym plan the travel for teams? No, we don't. Now, most of our competitions are local. They're all in New England. Nobody has to stay overnight for anything, but we don't do buses or anything like that. I know a lot of youth programs have started to do that. The kids are responsible to get to the competition and get home on their own with their parents. We occasionally will send out emails about room blocks for comps, but I will tell you that a lot of these room blocks sell out because of full year, and a lot of these events that we're going to offer both full year and half year. So the competition blocks that we may have had might not have any rooms. Do you have to stay overnight for events? No, typically you don't. There's a few comps in Connecticut that if you were to compete super early, you may want to, but the one thing that I will suggest is that you book rooms that are refundable. So if you find that you're not super early and you don't want to stay, you don't have to. So as far as travel is concerned, the gym doesn't do any kind of gym bookings or anything like that, at least for these events that these kids will go to. Some of the travel events that we go far, we do have to do that, but for these ones we don't. Communication, very, very important. When we first start our teams, the communication is going to come directly from the gym through the iClass portal. That would have been the portal that you set up to register for the program, to sign up for evaluations. You want to make sure that you have not unfollowed or unsubscribed to our emails. We find that sometimes people do half a year for a year, and then during the off season they'll unsubscribe. The issue we have, if you rejoin again and we're sending you emails, you're not getting them because you unsubscribed. So be very careful. You can go into your account and check. There's like a little check mark whether you unsubscribed or not, because the first 3 weeks, all the emails, including the reveal email, will be coming from the gym and will be coming from that iClass account. That's typically one of the big things we get at the beginning where people are like, I didn't get the email. It's always usually because you unsubscribed. After the first 3 weeks, we start to locate who our team moms are gonna be. Our team moms are kind of like the team manager. They end up being the person that gives the communication from the gym to you guys and a little bit more personalized experience as opposed to just those blanket emails that come from iClass. Team moms are selected. Typically, we like moms that have had experience being in the gym. Sometimes we have repeat half-year team moms that just come every year for half year. Other times we actually ask a full year mom to take care of a half year team and be their team mom as well. That's who you'll start to get emails from. Those are the people that you'll ask questions from in any of your communication, and then they'll get that info from us. We also set up Facebook groups, but if you're not on Facebook, you just need to follow our emails. We do a lot of fun posts on Facebook. We create groups per team. We ask parents and athletes that might have it to join those Facebook groups. We post a lot of videos on those. Coaches post feedback, a lot of just, fun interaction on the Facebook groups too. So it's very easy to get to know your team and your coaches by being in one of those Facebook groups as well. So as far as communication is concerned, just make sure that you are not unsubscribed to the CheerFactor email and be ready to get involved with your team mom. And if you've been doing this before and you're interested in being a team mom, make sure you let one of our administrative staffs know before the season starts. What is a typical competition day like for All-Star Cheer? I will tell you, probably not as long as youth or high school comps. It's usually a quicker experience. In the past, prep teams only competed one day. However, this year, there are a few events that may be offering 2-day comps for half year, which is very exciting. I will tell you, on a typical one-day event, you would get an arrival time from your team mom, which you are supposed to arrive, ready to go, hair, makeup, uniform on. You will get a time that your team reports to warm up, and you will get that kind of as an FYI. You will get your team's performance time, and you will get your team's awards time. In general, the longest this would be is probably 3 hours. The fastest it could be, I've seen teams in and out within 2. It all kind of depends on the award ceremony. But we typically ask our team moms to have their teams at the event or venue about an hour to an hour and a half prior to their warm-up time. Now, the more punctual everybody is, the less time might be required for that. I do have some full year elite teams that are so punctual, those team moms will only request their teams to be there 30 minutes before the warm-up because they know their kids are gonna come ready to go. On the other side, I have team moms that know their team tends to be very late, so they may ask for them an hour and a half or 2 hours beforehand just to make sure everybody's there. But for the most part, you will get an email with the checkpoints of the day, your arrival time, your warm-up time, the performance time, and your awards time. And again, it's not very long. If we end up with 2-day events that the half-year teams will do, and I do believe the last 2 events may end up being 2-day events, the first day will be fast because you will come in, you will do your warm-up, you will perform your routine, you will get your score sheets, or your coach will, and if you're all well and good, you will go. You could be talking about only an hour and a half for that. An hour and a half to 2 hours based on how well you guys arrive for competitions. Then the next day would be a little bit longer again because you're waiting for awards. But it is not an all-day affair. Now, how early can some of these events be? Unfortunately, they can be very early, especially with the younger ones. Typically, competitions start with the littles and work their way up. For half year, we don't do the tinies, so you might not be looking at 7 a.m. meet times, but if we end up with a mini prep, which we traditionally have, you still could be looking at early. So again, some of those events we might be in Connecticut. Once you get that performance time, some people like to stay overnight just because they don't want to drag their little one out that early in the morning. Another thing I want to be very clear about, we do not get performance times until about 2 weeks to 1 week prior to the event. And even when we get performance times, they consistently change up until the day before. So as I said, it's a small window of your day, and once we get that first time, it doesn't usually change. It's not like we'll get a schedule where, you know, the team your child's on is scheduled to compete at 9:45, and then 3 days later we get update, sorry, that team's not performing at 9:45 a.m. anymore, they're gonna perform at 3 p.m. No, it's typically, okay, now it's not 9:45, it's 9:48, or it's 10:12. So it's nothing huge, so you'll get an idea of about when you're gonna have to be at that venue. We have no idea until about 2 weeks to 1 week prior, and then we don't have the definitive until about the day before. And I will say, not last year, the competitions kind of got a little bit better with half year, but the year prior, there was 2 events that they were changing the performance times even the day of. It's not typical. That happened because the events were a little bit bigger than they anticipated. Again, it wasn't huge time differences, but if you're expecting your kid to be on the floor at 10:12 and they don't end up being out on the floor at 10:40, we like to let you guys know that. That is kind of a general idea of a comp day with half year at CheerFactor. So the last thing I will talk about is fundraising. Do you guys offer fundraising? Yes, we have an extremely successful booster organization. The only issue with half year is you kind of miss a lot of the biggest fundraising opportunities. The summer and early fall is, you know, when we do a lot of the Gillette, a lot of the Xfinity Center stuff, a lot of canning. So we will offer fundraising for half year, and you can join boosters as a half year program, and you definitely can fundraise. But I will just say this for those that join half year this season and end up like loving it and know that they want to do full year. Being a member of boosters, you could even start fundraising for next season's full year elite in the late spring if you know you're going to do full year elite. So we have a boosters organization. A lot of people pay their whole season with fundraising alone. It's just a little different for half year. 1, because your expenses are a little bit less, and 2, it's because a lot of the big ticket fundraisers have already passed. So we offer fundraising. If you were interested in full year, we offer major fundraising. But for half year, it's something, and it's a little bit of a supplement to help you guys out if you're interested in doing it. So that's gonna have me finish up today's little half year video. As always, if you have questions, you can always shoot me an email. My email is actually, I run the info at CheerFactor Gym and Christie at CheerFactorGym.com. My email is on the website. And once we get our teams going and we find our team moms, we will do a big team mom meeting to kind of give them even more information, or have them kind of get info that you guys are asking that we might not have already given you guys, and we will do some more videos that gives you more in detail of some things. This is just kind of the general video to get you guys an idea of what's going on, and we hope to see you guys at evaluations. We are super stoked for this season, 24-25. Boom. Thanks guys, thanks for watching.